Good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to welcome you all to the second semester of this Bachelor's of Commerce program. And in this second semester, I am going to take market and cost benefit analysis subject to you. And I think the soft copy of the syllabus has already been sent in the WhatsApp group yesterday, and I hope you people have already gone through the syllabus. And in today's class, just I am going to provide a brief introduction or a brief background with regard to this particular subject. So this particular subject, market and cost benefit analysis, this particular subject is strongly, it is based on the economics which you have already studied in your PU. And I think the meaning of economics, it is not a new thing to you. I think there is no detailed explanation which is needed. So just we'll take a glance on the meaning of economics, or we look at the definition of economics. Yes, here comes the definition of economics. It is one of the most oldest definition given. uh, Economics is the branch of knowledge concerned with the production, consumption and distribution of wealth. Though it is a very simple as well as a small definition, it carries a vast meaning. So this definition was given in the era of Adam Smith. So economics is the branch of knowledge concerned with the production. Production means creation. In other words, creating. Consumption. Consumption means the utilization of resources, right? And finally, the distribution of wealth, right? So economics is all about the creation, consumption and the distribution of wealth. Wealth is to be created equally among all the parts of economy. So this is the summary of this particular definition. So here, as it is already explained, this particular subject is, it is strongly depend upon the economics, that too microeconomics. So for that reason, now we have to study the branches of economics. Yes, here you can see the two important branches of economics. First one is microeconomics and second one is macroeconomics. First we will understand the definition of second one, the macroeconomics. Then we will go to the microeconomics. So here, macroeconomics. First we have to understand the meaning of macro. So what is macro? Macro means the study of a particular aspect or the study of a particular thing which is large in nature, right? So that's why here macroeconomics, here the definition is given, it is a branch of economics which is concerned with the overall behavior and performance of the economy as a whole. Here macroeconomics, it deals with the study of the overall behavior and the performance of economy. So here the economy of a particular country or the economy of a particular state, it is studied in total. The behavior and the performance of that economy of a particular country or a particular state, it will be studied in detail or it will be studied in total. It will be studied as a whole. So that's why it is stated, the name is given macroeconomics, right? For example, the role of a central bank or the role of reserve bank, the role of the government uh, in developing the economy, right? So all these aspects, For example, the monetary policy adopted by the central bank, or the fiscal policy adopted by the central government, and GDP, gross domestic product, and the policies taken by the government in order to maintain uh, economic stability in the country. All these aspects, they'll come under the purview of macroeconomics, right? So here in the macroeconomics, the economy is studied in total, or economy will be studied as whole, right? And it is very much needed for the public administration, for the government. So on the other hand, microeconomics, first we'll study the meaning, or first we'll understand the meaning of micro here. Micro means the study of a particular aspect which is small in nature, and the study is undertaken with regard to that particular aspect in detail. In other words, it is known as microscopic study. I think you know that some of the small creatures, or some of these small aspects will be taken or will be studied with the help of a microscope. So that's why microscopic study means studying small aspects, micro aspects in detail. So here microeconomics is a branch of economics which is concerned with the behavior of individual entities such as markets, firms, and households. So here in microeconomics, the entire economy of a particular country, or the entire economy of a particular state, will be divided into small number of units such as markets, firms, and households, right? So these are the markets, firms, and households are nothing but the small units of an economy. Here in the microeconomics, all these small units or all these small aspects will be studied in detail. That's why it is referred as microeconomics. So here microeconomics, it is also known as business economics or managerial economics, because microeconomics always, it tends to provide solutions to the complex business problems with the help of its theory, with the help of its theoretical background. So because of this particular reason, microeconomics, uh, it is also known as business economics or managerial economics. So here in this particular subject, market and cost benefit analysis, this particular subject, it is strongly based on this microeconomics, right? So here in this subject, you are going to study the some of the important theories, aspects of microeconomics, such as demand, supply, production function, and project planning. All these are already covered under the microeconomics, right? So here next we'll study the meaning of microeconomics in detail. Yes, here comes the meaning of microeconomics, meaning as well as definition of microeconomics. Microeconomics is the study of individuals and firms' behavior in decision making and allocating the resources. It generally applies to the market for goods and services, and also deals with individual and economic issues. So here microeconomics, as it is already stated, microeconomics is the study of small part of economies, or small part of, or the small aspects of an economy. Microeconomics is the study of individual and firms. Here individuals, firms, markets, all these are the small units of an economy. Microeconomics is the study of individuals and firms' behavior in decision making and allocating the resources. So as it is already stated, microeconomics, it is also referred as business economics because it assists in decision making. So microeconomics, it is having a strong theoretical background. So because of that reason, it is able to provide solutions for the complex business problems. In other words, it assists in decision making, managerial as well as business decision making, and allocating the resources. It becomes very easy when you are having a plenty of resources, when you are having n number of resources. But when the resources are limited, So there arises a necessity of optimum utilization of resources, available resources, and it's a very challenging thing. And microeconomics, it always it strives to provide an answer for the optimum utilization of available resources. Next sentence, it generally applies to market for goods and services. So here the markets will be studied in detail. So in your syllabus, you are going to study the classification of markets. The microeconomics, it classifies the markets on the basis of various criteria. So each and every market will be studied in detail. That's why it is given here that it generally applies to market for goods and services and also deals with individuals and economic issues. Right. So with the help of this particular definition, you can understand the meaning, or at least you will get some idea of microeconomics. Microeconomics is the study of individuals, firms, markets, right, and other smaller aspects of an economy, and it assists decision making for a business enterprise, and it also states how the resources are to be allocated optimally, and it generally applies to the markets for goods and services and also deals with individuals and economic issues. So with the help of this definition, it is I think this definition is enough to understand the meaning as well as the concept of microeconomics. So next year, next we will study the scope of microeconomics. So first we will study the features or the characteristics of microeconomics. So with the help of these characteristics, you will be able to understand, or you can understand the meaning of microeconomics in a still better manner. Features or the characteristics of microeconomics. Microeconomics divides the economy into small units and every unit is analyzed in detail. So it is already stated and explained. So in the microeconomics, the economy, the entire economy, right, the study of an economy in detail or in total will be macroeconomics. But in microeconomics, the total economy will be divided into small number of units or small aspects, and each and every unit is analyzed in detail. For example, markets, firms, industries, individuals, all these are the small units of an economy, and here each and every unit will be studied in detail. Take the example of markets for goods and services, how demand will be created in the market, how demand and supply forces, they determine the prices in the market. So all these aspects are going to be studied in microeconomics in detail. And what should be the pricing policy of the firms in different market conditions. So all these aspects are to be studied in microeconomics in detail. And along with this, microeconomics also provides better solutions or better guide for the business enterprises to operate in different markets. So next year, microeconomics holds good both theoretically and practically. It is useful in formulating policies relating to resource allocation and international trade. So here, microeconomics, it holds good both theoretically and practically. First of all, the microeconomics, it is having a strong theoretical background. Right? If a particular science or if a particular subject, in order to apply in a real life situation or in real life problem, it must have a strong theoretical background. So just in the same way, microeconomics holds good both theoretically and practically. Right? It means microeconomics, it is having various theories in its theoretical background, and they can be applied in real life situations. Right? You can find many empirical evidences in the demand and supply situations and the production situations. You can find many empirical evidence. Many economists, in the world have carried out various studies, various researches, and in those researches it is evident that there are various empirical evidence you will be able to get with regard to the microeconomics, right? It holds out both theoretically and practically. So in other words, it is also it is not only having the theoretical background, but it is also having the practical significance, and it is useful in formulating the policies. Policies means policies which can be formulated by the business enterprise with regard to the prices, with regard to the pricing, with regard to the promotion, with regard to the production, or it may be anything, right, relating to resource allocation and international trade. So resource allocation, when the resources are in scarce, it may be anything, it may be land, or it may be raw materials, or it may be human resource, or it may be anything, right? Those resources are to be allocated and they is to be used optimally. And microeconomics, by virtue of its strong theoretical background, it is able to guide a business enterprise for the optimum resource allocation and also international trade. With the help of microeconomics, a particular country or a particular state will be able to frame better international trade policies, right? So here microeconomics is more applicable in the micro aspects such as firms and industries. If a particular industry or if a particular firm is outperforming, the government it must think, or it may think to provide certain incentives for that particular industry in order to boost the export policy of that particular country. So in this regard, we can also say that microeconomics, it is also useful in the resource allocation and international trade. Next, one of the important assumption is cateris paribus, right? So it's a Latin word which means it is applicable when other things being same or other things being equal, right? When there are fluctuations in the other things, right, the principles of microeconomics are not applicable. It is one of the important assumption you must understand while understanding the feature or characteristic of microeconomics. And the last characteristic is microeconomics is a normative science rather than positive science. Here first you have to understand the differences between normative science and positive science. Here first I will explain the positive science or positive theory. Positive science is a science or it's a subject which explains the things as they are, right? So it just explains or it just describes the things as they are. Just for the example, take the example of this particular book. Positive science, it explains the things as they are. It explains how the book is or what kind of papers are used for this particular book. Like this, positive science, it explains how the things are. But normative science is not like that. It explains how the things ought to be, right? The word normative is derived from the word norms. Norms means the standards or the set standards which explain how the things should be, right? So that's why microeconomics, it is a normative science rather than positive science. Normative science because it provides solutions to the complex business problems, right? So that's why microeconomics, and it also guides the business enterprises to take better managerial decisions. So that's why the microeconomics, it is referred as a normative science rather than positive science, right? These are the features of microeconomics. Next year we'll study the scope of microeconomics. Yes, here is the scope of microeconomics. Scope means the area covered, or what are the things or which are the aspects which are going to be studied under the head of microeconomics. First one is commodity or product pricing, right? Commodity means any product or service. In the language of economics, it is referred as a commodity, right? The first scope of microeconomics is commodity or product pricing. Here, pricing for a particular product or pricing for a particular service is a very challenging job for any business enterprise, right? Because when framing a particular pricing policy, you must take into account several aspects. Say, for example, cost of production, market conditions, and the stage of that particular product in the market, that is product life cycle, which you have already studied in your first semester, right? So all these aspects, they will become important when pricing a particular pricing policy for a particular product or service. Especially in economics, in the microeconomics, it is stated that the pricing policy which is undertaken by the firms, it mainly depends upon the market conditions, right? Market conditions means, so you're going to see, right, you cannot adopt the same pricing policy in all the market conditions. For example, in perfect competition, right, in the perfect competition, the producer will not have any option, or he will not have any choice to frame a particular price for his products, because in the perfect competition, or in a perfectly competitive market, the prices will be determined on the basis of demand and supply forces. And in the monopoly, the producer will be the king, or he can fix any kind of price for his products, as he is the only producer of the market, right? So like this, pricing policy, it becomes a very challenging, or it's a key factor, because the producer has to take into account many economical as well as factors which are going to be considered while framing an appropriate price policy. Next one is factor pricing. I think you know that there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. Factor pricing means each factor of the production is having a price, or in other words, a reward must be provided to each of the factor of production. Say, for example, land is provided with rent, because land is not available freely. You have to pay some reward in the form of rent. And labor is to be provided with wages, right? And next, capital. Interest is to be paid on capital, since money or capital is not available at free of cost, right? And organization is to be rewarded finally with profit, right? So here, factor pricing, or what should be the reward, or how each and every factor of production is fairly rewarded, right? So that is also studied under the head of microeconomics, right? In the microeconomics, you will have lot of theories with regard to the rent, with regard to the profit, etc., right? So factor pricing, which is one of the important concept which is studied under the head of microeconomics. The next one, last one, that is economic welfare. It is also one of the important scope of microeconomics. Economic welfare means welfare, how welfare is to be created, right? When a particular firm or when a particular industry is outperforming, or if it is performing in a better manner, definitely it's a sign of an economic welfare, because if it is in a profit, or if it is operating, if it is outperforming, right, then definitely it means that it is contributing towards the economic development of that particular country. If a particular industry is performing in a fair manner or in a better manner, definitely it's a sign of economic welfare, because that industry is contributing some welfare towards the economic development. So just in the same way, if all the industries are performing well, then definitely it is a sign of economic welfare. Economic welfare, it starts from a particular individual. It starts from a particular individual, particular firm. If a small individual, or if a particular entrepreneur, he is outperforming, or he is performing well, then his firm will do better. If his firm will do better, then automatically, by virtue of competition in the industry will perform well, right? So because of this reason, ultimately that particular industry, it contributes welfare towards the economy, right? So like this, economic welfare, it is also one of the important scope of microeconomics. Next year, we'll study the significance or the importance of microeconomics in decision making. As it is already stated, as it is already discussed, microeconomics acts as an important guide to the managerial decision making. Right? It acts as a guide, or microeconomics, it provides guidance to the business enterprise for managerial decision making. Next, we'll understand how managerial economics, it acts as a guide, or in what aspects it acts as a guide for decision making. First one, optimum utilization of resources. So as it is already stated, resource may be anything. It may be land, or it may be human resource, or it may be capital, or it may be anything. Resources are to be used optimally, right? Take the example of finance. Finance is referred as the lifeblood of a business, and it is to be used optimally because it is having some cost, right? The finance or the money or the capital which is going to be invested in the business, it is having some cost. For example, you have to pay dividend on equity share capital, and you have to provide interest on debt, right? So like this, each and every source of finance is having its own cost. So that's why it is to be utilized in the business enterprise optimally. And also take the example of laborers, right? Labor is also having some reward, labor is also having some cost. You have to provide wages to the workman, you have to provide salary to the workers. So just in the same way, if these resources are utilized in an optimum manner, then a particular business enterprise, it can perform better in the market, or it can perform better in the industry. And microeconomics, the theory of microeconomics, provides some theoretical background, that is how these resources are to be utilized optimally. Next one, demand analysis, which is the most important concept which is studied under the microeconomics. So demand, I will explain the meaning and the concept of demand in the first chapter of this particular subject, but here just I will explain, or just I will tell the meaning of demand. Demand means the willingness of a particular individual to purchase a particular product, right? When all the individuals in a market, right, the aggregate of their willingness, the aggregate of their willingness to purchase a particular commodity is referred as the total demand for that particular product or service in a particular market. Here demand analysis is very much, it is having a lot of significance, a lot of importance, because on the basis of this demand, the price of a particular product is determined. And here demand is to be estimated well in advance by a business enterprise. And microeconomics, right, provides various tools and techniques, that how the demand is to be analyzed, or how the demand is to be estimated well in advance. Because of that, estimated demand which is determined well in advance, a business enterprise will have an option to set its production level and the marketing strategies, right? So that's why demand analysis is one of the most important concept in microeconomics. Next one, cost analysis. Cost is one of the most important factor which affects the profitability of a particular firm, or the profitability or the market share of a particular industry, right? Always all the business enterprise, they strive to manage or cut down the costs, right? Here cost minimization will be one of the most important objective for all the business enterprise. But how to minimize the cost, right? How to minimize the cost? The microeconomics, it provides better solutions for this particular question. Here the microeconomics, this particular subject, it studies the nature of the costs and it divides the cost into various components such as fixed cost, variable cost, average cost, marginal cost, like this. Right, by bifurcating the cost into various sub components, microeconomics will be able to provide better techniques to manage the cost. Here in the microeconomics, each and every component of cost, marginal cost, variable cost, they are going to be studied in detail. Next, production decision optimization. Right, here the production decision, it's one of the most important as well as challenging thing for all the industries. Production decisions are to be taken on the basis of demand analysis. By estimating the demand well in advance, business enterprises will be able to set their production levels and production decisions can be taken in a better way. Next, pricing policy, which is already discussed. Pricing policy, there are various pricing policies as well as various pricing strategies which are available to the business enterprise. I think in the first semester in the marketing management, you have studied various pricing strategies such as skimming, penetration, but the appropriate pricing policy is to be selected by a business enterprise on the basis of market conditions. And microeconomics, the theories of microeconomics provides that what pricing strategy or what pricing policy is to be undertaken in different market conditions. Next one, formulation of public economic policies. In other words, microeconomics, it acts as a base to the macroeconomics. Formulation of the public economic policy, it is the duty of central government or it is the duty of government, and this particular decision is to be taken on the basis of microeconomic things such as the profitability of a particular firm or the market share of particular industry. So on the basis of this public economic policies such as monetary policy of central bank, fiscal policy or the tax administration policy of the central government, all these decisions are going to be taken by the governments or the states on the basis of microeconomic indicators. Next and the last one, microeconomics, it is helpful in foreign trade. Foreign trade means the policies framed by the government with regard to the foreign trade or the international trade. Here the microeconomics indicators, just I will take the example. You think that a particular firm is producing a particular product and that product is being exported to the foreign country, and if that particular firm is outperforming, then definitely it is beneficial to the country. And if that particular product is produced and it is exported more and more to the other countries, then because of this increased exports, right, it is a favorable sign for the balance of payments. Right, the government will be able to maintain a better balance of payment situation by inducing the foreign trade, by providing certain incentives to various firms and industries. Right, so all these decisions are based on the microeconomic theories or microeconomics. So with this, I am going to conclude the today's class, and from the next class, in the next class, I am going to start the first chapter of your syllabus, that is demand and supply conditions.